Hi, I'm Maude Modise from the Shoprite group, and this is On the Shelf, where we talk about what it takes to get your product retail ready. Today we talk to Pregasen from Saikav Foods, and we're going to talk around pricing and what it takes for you to get the pricing of your product correctly in order for you to retail it at the correct price. Can you maybe give us more context about the products that you have listed with Shoprite at the moment?
So we have 3 products listed with Shoprite Checkers. The first product is our flagship product, which is the split pea dal in a can. Then we have something called gram dal in a can, and we have sugar beans in a can.
How did you go about thinking of the pricing of those products?
So we use a top-down approach in terms of what we'd like the product to be selling at the Shoprite stores at, and we worked it backwards in terms of what are the retail costs that we would incur, what are the distribution costs, what are the merchandising costs, and that gave us an amount which would be our wholesale price. And that wholesale price compared to our cost price was our profit, our GP.
So if we look at what you speak around the top-down approach, did you look at what other manufacturers are retailing their products or similar products for, or what is it when you mean top-down approach?
So our products were a bit unusual because we were first to market, so there were no competing products. So what I did is we looked at the price of the raw materials. How much would somebody buy a kg of split pea dal, for example? And we compared that price to the canned product. And remember, we're selling convenience in a can. So there was a little bit of a premium on the product, but it saved you a lot of time. It's a process of about 2 to 3 hours in terms of soaking the dal and boiling it. So you're using electricity and your time effectively.
So obviously you could at least gain a bit of pricing and extra pricing into the product or a bit of margin into the product because obviously you're selling a bit more convenience than what a normal product would be.
Absolutely. So a 410 gram can sells for $21.99. A 1 kg split pea dal sells for anything between 35 to 40 rand a kg. Okay. So our prices are competitive even in terms of the raw product.
Did your product or your price per can go down as you produced more, or how does that work?
So unfortunately we don't have bulk discounts in terms of our manufacturing process, but you have to understand that it's a low margin game, meaning that your profit per can is very low and therefore you need to push your volumes on your sales.
Did it also help that now you're producing your products locally in South Africa?
Definitely. So when we started exporting the product from the UK, the rand was at around 12 rand to the pound, and then it moved to 18 rand to the pound. So the product, we couldn't produce the product in the UK anymore. So we localized manufacturing, which then makes us a proudly South African company, and it also boosted the economy.
You created jobs.
Infrastructure, and here we are, 10 years later.
If you have any tips for any entrepreneur who's watching this and they want to know, if I have a product, what are maybe 3 or 4 things you definitely have to consider in your pricing?
The first thing is, how do I get a consumer to purchase my product more frequently? So from buying a can of split pea dal, how do I get him to buying it from once a month to once a week? That immediately increases your sales times 4. So if you price right, you almost guaranteed that you would get there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is consider all your hidden costs. When I say hidden cost, I mean your merchandising cost, your cost of distribution. So those are the 2 main costs that you need to consider, factor into the cost of your product. And the third thing I would say is don't try and put every single overhead into the cost of product. It's your merchandising and transport, and obviously the cost of your product that goes into the raw materials. If you try and put every single element into the cost of your price, you're going to be priced out. And that's why I say it's a volume game in terms of your numbers, and let your overheads be taken care of by the volume that you drive in terms of sales.
So basically what you're saying is if I produce more and get people to buy my products more often, the costs tend to go down a bit by bit, up until I get to a point where obviously everything stabilizes.
Correct, yeah.
Did you consult any of your buyers when you met with them in terms of pricing of the product and to get their view in terms of how much do they think it's actually a good price to launch the can ad? Did you guys have any discussions around that?
Yes, we did. So because the product was first to market, we compared it to other canned veg products. So we did receive a lot of guidance in terms of that, in terms of pricing right. And obviously, if you're not priced right, then it's a no-go. You got to look at your numbers quite closely and make sure that it works for the consumer, it works for Shoprite, and it works for you.
Thank you so much, Pregasen, for your time, and really, I hope to see more variants of your products and in more Shoprite stores.
Thanks for having me. It's a brilliant opportunity that I've been given with Shoprite Checkers, and I also hope to see more of my products in the Shoprite stores.